Good evening. You've reached Steve Lentini. Thank you for joining and for the every Thursday webinar jam, reinforcement, sales training, and coaching. And some of the things that are important to me, what I found and discovered over 40 years, I'll be sharing with you and have been sharing with all of you, except for the holidays. I hope you had a great holiday and a happy new year. And I hope you're expecting good things for the new year. So, one of the things that a couple of things that we're going to talk about tonight. So, one is goal setting and visioning. And I think that visioning is really critical to a salesperson's success because visioning means you see it in your mind's eye and you believe it in your mind's eye before you see it. So that's really critical. You believe it before you see it, and you spend some time every night and every morning picturing that, and I'll get into that a little later. In this work that we're doing together, is it very important to learn how you show up and to learn what you don't know that you don't know about yourself. So that's what my coaching clients pay a lot of money for. They pay to hear from me how they show up and to learn what they don't know that they don't know. And that's really critical. The other thing is that there's an energy that you carry around with you that people pick up on. If you've ever dialed someone on the phone and said, "Hey, are you okay?" What was it that had you say, that prompted you to say, "Hey, are you okay?" And truthfully, that is an energy that you're projecting and you're picking up. So you picked up from the person, uh, wow, they're not feeling well. Something's up, either from their voice or their tone of voice. Maybe they were lower and softer than they usually you ordinarily are, or they were slower in their speech, or it just didn't have the same passion. They didn't use the same choice of words, like, "Hey, I'm doing great. This is, I'm off to a great start. I'm looking for a great year. I'm expecting a great year." And some people, so when some people get into a lull or a low, then oftentimes they sink in a little bit. And that inward energy is not as attractive as the outward energy, the enthusiastic energy, the positive energy. So that's really important, and we're going to talk about that. Asking questions and detaching from outcomes is something that's really near and dear to me. I've made multiple $1 million sales detaching from outcomes, really being present with people and asking them questions that were critical to the eventual sale. And in multiple cases, the sale came uh, later out of the blue because I had actually let the sales go. And most A-type salespeople wouldn't do it. They don't know how to do it, and they think that it's counterproductive. And I'm going to show you that it is most productive to be with someone, not worrying about whether they'll buy from you. It's not your sale. It's not your sale because you knock on the door. And your job is not to show off and be so fancy that they love you. Because people do like people they buy from people they like and trust. The key though is there to be with them, present, helping them. That is really the key in today's sales world. And that's what you want to get. You want to get to that place where they sense that you're there to help them. You could even challenge them. You could even ask them, "Hey, how do I say a question? I've got something that came up in my mind I think would really help you make this decision. How do I say something that might be uncomfortable?" Most people are going to say, "Hit me with it." They're going to say, "Hit me with it." And then they're going to respect you for the fact that you were able to challenge them. So that becomes a respect issue. You gain the respect of the client because you had the courage to challenge them. So, all right, let's jump into tonight. And before I do that, let me just say that I've been doing this 40 years. and that I'm a published author. I have more books coming, but Sales Success for the Rookie is published by Motivational Press, and I am a contributing author to a book also published by Motivational Press, Imagine 30 Days to a New You. So, anyway, let's get started on that now. It's more about you than it is about me. I don't have to convince anybody of my pedigree. I've been doing this for 40 years, and I have a lot of clients that would attest to my success, and many, especially recently in the past few months, amazingly, my coaching list has gone from 4 or 5 to over 20. So, like I said, Google me, talk to some of the people I've worked with. You'll find that your life will change and that your sales work will change. Even your management work will change if you're willing to open. I mean, I've dealt with a few nuts that were uncrackable, and at some point you just go along to get along because they just don't want to listen. And so anyway, and then they believe they have another way. So why hire a coach or a consultant, right? I mean, why bother? All right. So how people show up. I've worked with salespeople, as I've said, for over 40 years, and I've seen some really dumb salespeople. I've seen some really smart salespeople, and everything in between. And I don't like the word dumb salespeople, but salespeople that were just unaware totally of how they showed up in front of people. And some were so trying to be so charming that it came off as they were trying to be so charming. It was forced. And the others in between that range of not being, let's say that they're not coachable, to being very successful. I can share with you some of the keys of the very successful people and some of the things that the salespeople make that are not as well trained and or well versed in communication and how they show up. So I was talking to a woman who owned a big supermarket, and it was in her family for many generations. And she said in the course of a year, 1,000 salespeople would come in her door, and that most of them that there were those that irritated her and they didn't even get it, that they were pushing her and more convinced that as they kept showing up that they were going to weaken her resistance, and they eventually that she would buy from them. In fact, the interviews on YouTube, if you want to go there and look for the Steve Lentini channel, that's Steve, SteveLentini, Lentini.com channel, or the Steve Lentini channel on YouTube. So it's a fascinating interview because she talks a lot about all the people that call on her and how many of them aren't even aware of the things they do to break the relationship and break the bond, that she doesn't trust them. So here's the thing. I encourage people to do a 360 review, to send it out to their boss and to 4 other of their closest peers, and maybe even one person they work with, and ask them how they show up. But I also have a format that I have my clients send out, and I'm glad to send it to you. So I'm glad to send it to you so that you can send it out and get this feedback. And it'll be the same questions that I send to my coaching clients. So feel free, and it's a free service for you enrolling in these seminars. So I always give more, and I believe that that's an energy that we project out into the universe or the world. And so are you giving or are you a getter, a taker? So a giver is willing to help people buy, and if you're a giver, you're more likely to detach from outcomes and really hear what people are looking for. And that's what you want to do. You want to really hear what people are looking for and figure out how you can help them. Not everyone is a good match for our customer list. And so hopefully you've made a list of what the ideal customer is and what those characteristics are. If you have that list, you have the place where you can say no, or you can say, I'm not sure if this is a fit for our company. Would you like me to tell you why? And then maybe the customer, a lot of times the customer will say, oh no, No problem. I can do that. I can fix that. So, energy projection, very important. What you want to do is do a 360 review, have people give you feedback on how you show up, what your top 5 strengths are, what's your top 5 areas of improvement, and what annoys them about you the most. You want to learn what annoys you the most in people. Why, Steve? Why do I want to learn what annoys me? What annoys people the most about me? So what I don't know that I don't know, it becomes a block if I don't address it. Now, there's other ways to discover what annoys other people about you. In fact, what you could do is make a list of the 5 people that annoy you in your life and write down what annoys them about you. And the reason that they annoy you is because you have what they have, but you don't realize it. So let me say that again more slowly. A good way to find out how you show up in front of others is to write down a list of the 5 people that annoy you that are in your life, whether it's a coworker or even a customer, but they're in your life on a regular basis. And what annoys you about them is something that you don't know about yourself. It's a characteristic that you have because they annoy you. That characteristic in those 5 friends or 5 coworkers or clients or a mix of family, customers, clients, they have those characteristics and they annoy you because you have them and you haven't figured that out yet. You have yet to embrace that you are what you say those annoying people have, that you have it. So that's another good way to look at it. Energy projection is, yes, it's a positive energy, and as long as it's not fake. And so I prefer a silent energy projection so that when you're with customers and potential customers, you're blessing them silently. Deepak Chopra says you wouldn't go to someone's house and not bring a gift, right? You wouldn't. So you what you can bring is a gift of a wish of joy, success, and happiness. So you can silently say, I wish you joy, success, and happiness. Thank you for this meeting. Silently in your mind, I bring you joy, success, and happiness. I wish you joy, success, and happiness. And I bless you. So do some more study about that. Look into Deepak Chopra's work. Look into James Allen's work. Look into Charles Haanel or Florence Scovel Shinn or Catherine Ponder. We're projecting an energy from our thoughts. And so as long as you have thoughts that are negative and angry or bitterness, if you bring those with you to a sales call, people are going to sense it. They're going to sense it. They're going to pick it up from you. And you're going to wonder why you didn't close that sale. So it isn't all about what you say or getting invoices. I know people that get invoices. And what they're training their customer is to give invoices to salespeople who come in and ask, just like they just did. So, and that's an energy. That's an energy of, hey, I want a quick sale. All I'm going to do is cut the price. And so you've trained them that that's what you do when you walk in and do that. So energy projection. I want you to think positive thoughts. I want you to spend 5 minutes before you go into a call thinking positive thoughts and affirming that you are a master in this world. I am a master. I am creative. I am abundantly provided for. I am prosperous. I am successful. I am vital. I am healthy. I am wealthy. I am wise. All of those things you need to be affirming, and anything that follows I am is an affirmation. So that's really something that to spend time on, to work on, and it'll improve your success. If you're successful at detaching from outcomes and bringing a healthy energy to the sales call, you'll be able to ask more questions because you'll honor what comes up in you. You'll get feelings that come up. You'll get a sense of something, and you can ask, hey, I'm sensing that I have an idea, and I'm sensing something, and I'd like to suggest it to you. And you might find it a little bit uncomfortable. So how do I do that? How do I do that? Or I have an idea for you that challenges a lot about what I've heard so far. I know what you say your plans are, and I wish you well with those plans. And I've got a third-party story, which is a story from one of my clients where what you're doing did not work and what we suggested worked. Would you like to hear that? And then give space, like I just did. Take a pause for that information to be digested, because when you go to wet water a hard plant, it takes longer, yes, no, for the water to go through. So it's the same idea with a person. Someone who's closed off and hardened off and thinks that they know better than you, they're not going to take kindly to your ideas until you soften them up a little bit. You got to just water them a little bit. And then when the ground is a little softer, it'll take in the rest of the water. And that's really how you have to do it. So if you detach from outcomes, and here's what that is. Detaching from outcomes is you're not concerned whether they buy from you or not. You're concerned whether or not you're the right fit. Do you have the right offering? And by offering someone and really hearing what they're looking for and knowing truly you have a good offering, they're going to sense it. And if they aren't a good fit for you, because you've outlined your ideal customer, hopefully, right? So you've outlined your ideal customer, and you know that I'm going to go there to help them and find out if this customer's a fit or not, because you have rights. You don't have to sell everyone, and not everyone is going to be a good fit. As long as I've been in business, I didn't sell everybody I called on, and I hope all of you have, and it's not typically the case. So what I'm suggesting is that you detach from outcomes. You're not interested in making the sale first. I said first. First, you're interested in finding the fit. Are these people really an ideal customer or a second ideal customer for me? Or are they someone that I have to shoot out the funnel, that I have to say, this isn't really going to be a fit, and I don't want to offend you. And hear the reason. Would you like to hear the reasons why? You give them the reason. Give them the option to say yes or no. If it's no, say, okay, so have I offended you? Because I think it's important that you hear some of the reasons why I think we're not a fit. Most people will honor it because you're being honest. You're being honest. So then since you've detached from outcomes and the idea of pushing a sale on them, you've created space for them to come at you. And now you can ask questions that can challenge you. Okay, so here's what I heard. Here's what I heard you're looking for. Here's what you think would fix it. And you've agreed I can share with you. Here's my third-party story of where exactly what you're thinking didn't work. And here's what the client did. And you tell them the story. Again, it's honest. It's refreshing. It's true. You're going to tell them a third-party story. Would you like to call Mary, who was involved in that whole process? Would you like to call Mary, right? And then they'll call Mary and get validation and verification of your truth, of what your solution offered. And she'll say, oh, well, we were going to go down the road I heard you're planning to go down. In fact, we did a little bit and it didn't work. And then we went to Steve's solution and it worked wonderfully. And here's what worked. And here's why we're glad we did it. So if you're not in sales long enough and you don't have a third-party stories yet, then what you do is you bring people who are experienced in the company. Ask your coworkers for third-party stories. I know that any company that's been around for 8, 10, 12, 15 years, even 5 years, is going to have third-party stories, probably 3 years. They're going to have plenty of third-party stories. All right, so next is goal setting and visioning. So we've got a new year, And some people say, Wayne Dyer said, God rest his soul, by the way. Wayne Dyer, if you didn't know, has passed on, I think in December. But Wayne Dyer used to say you didn't have to write goals, that it wasn't important. It was just important to keep them up here. I think, Anthony Robbins thinks, and a lot of other people think, that it's important to write down goals and update them. Have 1, 3, and 5-year goals. I'm just making notes because I want to update. That reminded me to update my 3 and 5-year goals. And so the other thing that I spend time doing, pardon me, the other thing that I spend time doing is I spend time visioning. So you write your 1, 3, and 5-year goals, and the reason you do that is because then you get to look back. So in your 3rd year, you get to look back. Geez, what did I accomplish in that set of written goals that I did in year 1? And then you get to update year 3, and you can update 4 and 5 as you go because things change. But writing them down has power, and then visioning them. So spend 5 minutes every morning picturing yourself as if you are already at the goal, and picture yourself, really feel yourself at the goal and see the benefit. So see the money. Picture yourself with the lifestyle that would result from reaching your goal and having the money. And because imagination has no limits, Einstein, was a big fan of picturing things in our minds because visioning and the imagination had absolutely no limits, limitless. So his idea was to picture even some of the details. So feel the feelings of achieving the goal and picture yourself with the lifestyle, right? And then also to picture the details. So I remember visioning contracts and handshaking and clients paying me up front. And I remember even visioning for a credit line and someone co-signing for me. And it all happened within 90 days of the beginning of the visioning. So it's very important that you spend 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes before you fall asleep visioning, feeling it happen, seeing the contract, seeing the checks written. Picture it in your mind's eye. There's no limit to imagination. Now, in the beginning, your mind's eye will say things like, you can't achieve this. That's never going to happen. Do you see how ridiculous it is? Do you see how big that is? Do you see where you are now? Don't pay attention to it. Chase those voices out of your mind. Say things like, thank you for sharing. I am wealthy. I am successful. I am a best-selling author. I am whatever it is. I'm the #1 salesperson at my company. Whatever it is that you want to affirm, picture it. Then there's something called acting as if. So a lot of people, if you've watched The Secret or similar, where What the Blink Do We Think, I think is the name of it. Anyway, there's a lot of written material and videos and about manifesting things. And acting as if is one big Esther and Abraham. I think Esther and Jerry Hicks do work on manifesting Abraham in this world, Abraham of biblical times. And Abraham actually urges us to act as if and to act like we are where we are. So, you wouldn't act like you have $1 million and go out and, do things you can't afford, but you would double a tip in a restaurant. You would drop money on drop a $5 bill on the ground because you think there's plenty. Or you would take a homeless person to buy a sandwich because they were asking, right? If they're asking for money, you say, what are you using it for? Well, I want to buy a sandwich. Okay, come on, let's go get a sandwich. You buy them a sandwich. So you're acting as if you have plenty of money, and there's power in that. So we live in a universe which is a miracle, right? We live in an abundant universe, which is a miracle. It's unlimited. We don't even know it. We don't even have the answers for how everything works. And so how you can relate that to sales is you begin to act as if you're taken care of. You have nothing to worry about. There's plenty. No matter what the economy says, no matter what your boss says, no matter what any other people say, you're living in a divine entity, a miracle. For some people, it's God. So the source of supply, if you believe in God, is God, not people, and not jobs, and not outer conditions. So you could even say the source of my supply is God. I am not dependent. I am not dependent on other people, places, or things, or the economy, or the world. I am not dependent on it because you're taken care of like the smallest creatures in this miracle are taken care of, like birds are taken care of, like most animals are taken care of. You could say, well, Steve, a lot of animals meet their death, so do a lot of humans every day. But each day, birds don't get up and worry about whether or not there'll be food. And the same with fish, and the same with deer, and the same with every animal. They are focused on just being in the moment and being here. Now, they don't have the power to set goals, to do some visioning, to help other people, to do some giving, to break through barriers in their mind by picturing grand and great things. They don't have that ability. We do. We have choice, and we have visioning, and we have imagination, and we have words where we can speak that we are creative, we are valued, we are valuable, we are well able, we are creative, we are prosperous, we are healthy, we are fit, we are trim. Yeah, those are things we can all do ahead of time. Speaking our future, visioning our future, writing our future, thinking about our future, thinking about a success. Now, what if you're not working in a job that you're really crazy about? Well, then get out. You say, Steve, I can't get out. You can get out. The universe will support you if you get out and think about what is it I really want to do? What is it that I desire truly? Now, I've spent a number of years doing it part time, working on coaching people and speaking and writing and training. And so what happened is when I was ready to go full time again, all kinds of work showed up to support me. So Martin Luther King used to say, "You step where there is no floor, and the floor rises to meet you." It's a fascinating experience, by the way. I have experienced it. So a number of times. And then most recently, in a big step, again, moving out onto my own work, out from under being an employee. And thankfully, I was in my own work part time and enough to, with important people and important clients, big companies who helped me um, enjoy more full time work with them, coaching their employees based on experience they had with me. They didn't have to guess if what I was teaching or coaching was going to work. I had already coached a number of their people over the years with great success. And so, and I don't want you to try that on my say so. You talk to people that I've worked with and find out if it works. And for each person I work with, I encourage them, not encourage them, I teach them to make their own life the experiment, not listen to what I say, but to do what I suggest and see what the outcome is. And in 1 or 2 or 3 years, note if their life has changed because they have changed. I'm not changing it. They've decided to change. So when the teacher's ready, when the student's ready, the teacher appears. This holds true through many generations, and today it was used in the Bible, biblical times, in fact, when the student's ready, the teacher appears. So it's been around for thousands of years. And I urge you, if you're ready to get some coaching, you can call me for coaching. 917 805 1088. My email is Steve, STEVE, at Steve Lentini, L as in Linda, ENTINI.com. Steve at SteveLentini.com. You can email me. I'm glad to get you started on the path to coaching. You're free to come to these. These are reinforcement half-hour trainings every week, every Thursday. except for holidays. And then you can, if you miss it, you can get the replay from Webinar Jam, and the replays are available multiple times during each time frame, and the time frames are announced on each of the webinars. So I encourage you to go to Sandler Sales Institute, go to Spin Selling, go to the Challenger Sale, wherever you can get work. Those are all good things. And if you want me to help you, I can also help you figure out what you don't know that you don't know. I can help you. And it's amazing that work. Amazing that work. All right. So you've got my information. Feel free to call me or email me, and encourage people to catch the every Thursday training and or the replays. Thanks again. Have a great month. No, have a great week. I'll talk to you on Thursday.